Search efforts continue for the missing Malaysia Flight 370 as new developments lead to more questions.
And tensions rise as Russia claims Crimea as one of their own.
San Diego State Aztecs are on to the next round in the NCAA tournament after last.
It's springtime, but are temperatures changing? I'll bring you your weekend forecast. Newscene starts right now.
Hello and welcome to Newscene. I'm Ronnie Das.
And I'm Roxanne Elias. Thank you for joining.
As the crisis in Crimea continues, the U.S. responds to Russia. Mark Henry has a story.
Lots of news on that front. Thanks, guys. Ronnie and Roxanne, as of this broadcast, major changes this week in the Ukraine crisis. This morning, Russian President Vladimir Putin lashed out against the U.S. by banning high-ranking American officials from entering Russia. Yesterday, President Obama imposed the new rounds of sanctions. In turn, President Vladimir Putin signed a deal completing Crimea's annexation. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Arseniy Yatsenyuk urges sanctions to prevent a third world war.
We have two types of response. The first one is military, which is not really acceptable for the world to have the third world war. The second one is political, diplomatic, and economic. The best way to contain Russia is to impose real economic leverage over them.
This accession of the Crimean region makes for the biggest crisis in the East, West relations since the Cold War. Events are still unfolding as both sides are holding firm and not backing down. So this story is far from over. We'll keep you posted on the latest events as they unfold.
A difficult situation. Let's hope they can find a peaceful solution. Thank you so much, Mark.
Completely agree. Okay, questions regarding developments, but let's hope a peaceful agreement can be reached. Questions regarding missing Malaysia Flight 370 keep piling up. Joshua Lipton.
370. We are still at square one with even more questions. Two pieces of debris thought to be parts of the missing plane were spotted by satellite, according to Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott.
The Australian Maritime Safety Authority has received information based on satellite imagery of objects possibly related to the search. Following specialist analysis of this satellite imagery, two possible objects related to the search have been identified.
The debris is located in very deep water about 1,400 miles southwest of Perth, Australia, but no sighting has been confirmed. Bad weather and low visibility has made the search difficult, and planes only have 2 hours to search because of the distance from land. Families of the passengers still await word on the status of loved ones, while some blame the Malaysian authorities for botching the investigation. One family member had this to say. How is it possible for a plane to lose contact? That is not possible. The U.S. is not stupid. The U.S. found bin Laden. How could they not find a plane? From 1 a.m. to 8 a.m., Malaysia Airlines knew where the plane was all along. You keep lying to the families. As the search continues this weekend, weather should be calmer, allowing for a more thorough search. This is Joshua Lipton, Newscene.
Malaysian Flight 370 has been missing since March 8th and is now China, Japan, and Britain are joining the search effort.
Investigators are working to determine what caused the deadly news helicopter crash near Seattle's Space Center earlier this week. It happened just outside the Como Studios in downtown Seattle on Thursday. The pilot and a news photographer died, and a third person is badly hurt. Witnesses say the chopper looked like it was taking off from a helipad on top of the station's building when it took a nosedive. Investigators are looking at possibilities, including if construction cranes in the area played a role in the crash.
The woman accused of fatally stabbing her boyfriend and leaving his body in the San Diego River was arraigned today. Jane Colantonio was arrested on suspicion of murder shortly after a man's body was found floating in the San Diego River near Grantville. Around 6 p.m. Tuesday, the victim's body was found floating in the river by a fisherman who thought he had drowned. After seeing the body, the man said Colantonio asked him to call 911 because she had found her boyfriend dead in the river. The victim's name has been withheld pending notification of his kin. A report of last November's shooting at LAX brings new concerns over airport safety. An 83-page report released on Tuesday praises the heroism of the officers who subdued the shooter, but also recommends extensive changes to airport security policies and procedures. One of the biggest flaws noted in the report was a lack of communication and coordination between airport security and law enforcement. Additional meetings are being held, scheduled to decide on how to implement the recommended changes at the airport.
In California, a high number of prisoners with life sentences are being released from jail. Under Governor Jerry Brown, about 1,400 prisoners have been released in the past 3 years. The releases come in a time when the state is under pressure by the federal court to reduce prison overcrowding. According to the Associated Press, over 80% of those with life sentences are in jail for murder, while the remaining prisoners in jail for life are most likely kidnappers and rapists.
And looking for a new job? Then North Dakota needs you. State and oil companies are launching an employment campaign to fill 20,000 jobs, ranging from truck drivers, oil field workers, receptionists, and food servers. Employment needs in the state are not only the oil industry, but local businesses are looking to fill positions too. North Dakota's oil boom has led to cities quadrupling, causing housing shortages and driving the rent to a national high.
Sweetwater Union teachers are getting ready to walk out. We'll tell you what that means for students.
And March Madness continues as SDSU advances in the tournament. We'll have highlights for the big game and how much more in sports coming up.